It's a gag. Okay, that's our standard, right? Why must a gag be funny? Is it not enough to hear a word loud?
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I am Sam Allman.
And I'm Maddie. A Bernard approaches. Command?
Hi, I'm David Bernard Halk.
My best bud Bernard is here to join us for this game.
Yay.
Bernard, would you like to introduce yourself and say, something about yourself?
Hi, I'm Bernard. I love Dragon Quest. I do another podcast with Maddie called Have You Played Resident Evil, where I ask her if she's played Resident Evil. And
that's it. That's the show.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's a good show.
And, I don't know. I didn't really prepare an introduction. I'm hella gay. And that's about it about me.
Yeah.
I always appreciate more hella gay people with us.
I know.
Yeah. Sam, one of us. One
Yeah.
of us.
I'll just break the news to Summer, and we'll go from there.
You're gonna catch the gay.
Hey, you could be bi.
True.
I'm sort of hella gay, but I am also... That's not how bisexuality works.
Yeah, I was like, I see where you're going with this.
No, yeah, and I realized, you know what? I don't want to give people ideas.
Yeah, you dumb people, you can't tell when something's a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a new game for you this week, as Bernard already alluded to. Eli, what are we playing here?
Today we will be discussing the first part of Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride, up to completing up to 10 towers.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm not sure.
I wasn't necessarily alluding to the fact we're playing Dragon Quest. I'm always saying I love Dragon Quest.
That's like your Pokemon NPC dialogue. You're like, I'm Bernard. I love Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
I love Dragon Quest. They're nice and easy to play.
Nice and easy. That's exactly what I
Do you
said.
remember that fucking kid in Pokemon Red Blue? Who's like playing Pokemon on a Game Boy? And there's other two kids who were telling you about link cables, and they're both sitting there trading Pokemon on their Pokemon games on their Game Boys.
Yeah, it was very meta.
I assumed those could be like handheld PCs that they were using to trade.
Oh, wait, or it could just be that video games exist in this world, and because everyone in this world is obsessed with Pokemon all the time, they just have Pokemon video games.
Yeah,
That actually makes a lot of sense.
That's actually how it works in like Marvel comics. In there are comic books about Spider-Man when you could just go outside and watch Spider-Man do Spider-Man, but everyone just loves their superheroes so much that there's still comic books. It's nuts.
Interesting. Well, at any rate, yeah, we're playing Dragon Quest V. Because I'm me. I kind of have been yelling at everyone to play Dragon Quest for like let's say more like 17 years, but more reasonably since we started this podcast. And what versions are we all playing?
I'm on the iOS version.
Mm-hmm.
I am also on the iOS version.
I am too, and Bernard is on the DS version.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, we're all playing the same version. None of us are playing the original, and none of us are playing the PS2 version because it's too hard to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider playing the PS2 version, but the convenience of being able to play anywhere, and also I didn't want to have to deal with having different names for everything. And also, there's no reason to play the Super Nintendo version because it's not as good in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I considered getting the DS version, but I looked it up online, and it's being sold for twice the cost of the iOS version.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised.
Nope.
It used to be sold for significantly more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Dragon Quest DS games are like colloquially known as just like the most expensive DS games because they're all good.
That's exciting.
They're all good, so no one sells them. So
Gotcha.
And they
And
didn't
also
print very
no one
many
bought-
because,
And no one bought them when they came out.
yes,
Oh.
they did a really big run of 4. because they were really trying to push it. They were like, everyone buy this game, please. And then, like, no one fucking bought it. So they did a smaller run of 5, and no one bought it. And then they did a very small run of 6. If you didn't buy 6 when it came out, it's not good, fam. They actually did reprint 5 later, because they're like, okay, even though 5 didn't sell that well, it's still the most popular game in the whole series, and it's selling better than 4 and 6 at least. So they did do a second run of it, because I noticed the price dramatically dropped at one point, and it became available all of a sudden. But that was ages ago.
Yeah. Here's my thing, and why I always passed on these games. I don't like Akira Toriyama's art style.
What?
Yeah, I know. I don't get it, but
sorry.
It's okay.
It's fine. Like, everyone is entitled to at least one wrong opinion. This is your one wrong opinion. So now,
I mean, it's why I passed on Chrono Trigger too.
Yeah. So now we have to go and play Dark Souls, and you can't say anything bad about it because you used your one opinion right now.
Oh my god, no! Don't do this to me.
I've never heard of someone not liking Akira Toriyama.
I heard people criticize him like, "Oh, he can only draw 2 characters." I'm like, they're good though.
I don't like the way the faces look. I don't like the big buffness of every man. I'm not into it.
Yeah, I will say that the buffness definitely started in DBZ. If you go back to like the OG Dragon Ball and like Dr. Slump and Dragon Quest, like very few people are like ripped to shit. Most people have the squishy Toriyama art style.
Although everyone's ripped in Dragon Quest VI, and it's disturbing.
Dragon Quest VI is like, what if we made a Dragon Quest game for the edgy American teens who like Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball didn't release it in America.
I know, but that's what it looks like.
The sprite art in Dragon Quest V at least looks fine. I mean, like, their portraits are very clearly Akira Toriyama, but like the sprites look like normal sprites to me.
Yeah, I mean, with that many pixels, you can't
do a
that
whole lot,
much, really.
But anyway, so
play this game.
Let's get to it. Although, how was everyone's week? Do we want to? Yeah.
My week was good. I had band practice yesterday, which, if you've been following along, my band broke up like 6 months ago. So we decided that we just kind of fizzled out, and we would instead like to have a big giant show. And by giant show, we mean giant long, not giant people. So we're just going to invite like our closest band friends and play every song we've ever written. And we're going to do that at the end of June, and it's going to be dope. But we've been practicing for that, and it was weird.
That's really cute. It's like that. It's like that one 5 Iron Frenzy song about breaking up and breaking all your instruments and setting everything on fire.
Yeah.
Except you're not going to do that because instruments are expensive.
Yeah, they're really, really expensive. And in a plot twist, my all of my shit broke right before tour, so I bought brand new guitars and amps and everything to go on tour, and those are the last shows that we played. So it's all like practically unused stuff that I would be setting on fire. So yeah, no, not going to do that.
Nice, very nice.
But what about you, Maddie?
I don't know what is a week? What is doing well?
A miserable little pile of days.
Days, I suppose. Yeah. I could not tell you what I did in the past week. Oh, that's right. Sorry. So I got just the correct amount depressed enough to want to play Dragon Quest, which is kind of, but not too much.
Yeah.
So now I'm playing Dragon Quest 5 and 11.
That won't be confusing, I'm sure.
I've put like 20 hours into 11. Oops.
Nice.
I just got the boat. It's great. I'm glad I'm finally able to appreciate this game. I wasn't able to enjoy it back when it first came out because I was too depressed for it, whereas now I'm like a little depressed, which is just right. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
What's going on with you? Are you still sick?
I am still a tiny bit sick. I've been sick for like over a week now. But I'm going to try not to sniffle on the podcast. My week was pretty good. I mainly just stayed in my house and bonkered down on my Persona 5 replay, which I'm almost done with.
Nice.
I actually finished all the confidants and everything, and now it feels sort of empty and sad.
Wow.
But also,
yeah, you're just like next day.
Yeah. But I also went to see Detective Pikachu, which was just fantastic. I loved it so much.
Yeah, I was going to watch it yesterday with Scarlett while Summer watched Endgame, and she was like, do you want to just have like a stay-at-home day instead? I was like, well, yeah, but now I can't talk to you about Endgame for another week, so I guess.
I'm probably going to do Detective Pikachu / John Wick combo on Friday morning.
Ooh.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Nice.
Anyway, what's up with you, Eli?
So I didn't get to talk about my previous week last week.
Oh,
and
that's
I
right.
had a hell of a week. I have a very old cat. I got her, I was told she was 6 when I got her, and that was 10.5 years ago. So she is a very old cat.
Wowza.
She has essentially gone blind. The vet thinks that she has detached retinas. She has gotten kind of weak. She's lost weight. And we're not sure how much longer Boots is going to be with us. So at some point I'll probably post lots of Boots pictures in the Discord, because I've been taking lots and lots of pictures of her.
Yeah.
So Ken and I went to see Detective Pikachu last Thursday as kind of an early birthday treat for me and a friend of mine whose birthday is like 2 weeks before mine. And so we went out with my friend Ruth and her husband JT, and I made it a cheat day for my diet.
Nice.
So naturally I ate cake for breakfast, and then I regretted my life. I then had podcast recording and bent over slightly to try and find something that happened to be on my desk and not on my floor, and in the process hurt my back.
Oh, yeah. How did that go? I know that you were in pain for 2 episodes you recorded back to back, and you couldn't really talk about it.
Yeah, I'm better.
Good.
It took a few days, but I'm better. I also still am not back on ketosis after almost a week, and I'm freaking out about it, so that's great.
It's fine. It happens with cheat days sometimes, where like your body just like freaks out, and so you'll plateau for a second, but then it'll kick back in.
Okay,
no,
great.
Like so if you want to like super jumpstart it, you can have like 2 or 3 like sausage and egg days where like you get like almost 0 carbs. You can do that, but like it doesn't matter. You can just stick onto it. It'll come back.
Okay, great, because I've had this irrational fear that one donut is going to make me balloon 30 pounds again.
No.
So, yeah. And then, I got wireless controllers for my SNES Classic, so that was great.
Nice.
Oh, and I had a friend over this week to watch Twin Peaks with, and that was super fun. We watched Fire Walk with Me. She had never seen it.
Hell
and
yes.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Owns.
It was great. And she's gonna come. She should be coming over today to start watching The Return with me.
Nice.
Yes,
And getting to watch Twin Peaks again with a new person is one of the best life experiences.
Yeah.
That's the best part about. Honestly, that's why you go on dates. That's why you get in a relationship. Honestly, so that you can just have an excuse to watch Twin Peaks again.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, that's why I had a kid, so I can watch Digimon again. Like,
Fair. So, okay, I guess let's get to this game.
yeah.
Awesome.
Let's do this thing.
So
before we do start that, Eli, just because I want to reiterate, this is your first ever Dragon Quest experience, right?
Yes, I've never played a Dragon Quest game.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you to experience it in this form, and I'm really excited to hear what you got to say about it.
Great.
Yeah.
So we start with a guy named King Pancreas, who's apparently having a kid.
Yeah.
A guy named Sancho, who has a stereotypically Spanish accent.
Ooh, yeah, it does.
Comes in. Yeah, that's something I'll get to, that I'll talk about in memorable moments, but... boy, his accent, he comes in and tells us, he's a baby. And all I can think is, wow, I sure hope it is. I'm not sure what else your wife would be having, but don't want to think about it, honestly.
Right.
So we meet...
East and Ultros.
Oh, God. So we meet King Pancraz's wife, whose name is Mata, and all I can think of is, hello, Mata.
Yeah.
Hello, Fata. I am
I'm
here
sure
at
that was
Camp
intentional.
Granada.
A fun fact, I've always thought Pancraz was a very strange name, but I had never realized before, because the mom, obviously, spoiler alert, she's going to probably die in childbirth in like 5 minutes, so you don't think about her for the whole game. The dad's more properly translated name should be Papas. I think it's Papasu in Japanese, so Papas would be the original versions. And I always thought, like, Pancraz, that's weird, why not just Papas? But wait, then it'd be Papas and Mata.
Papas and Mata.
That's just... Akira Toriyama did not name these characters, but, like, that's some Akira Toriyama shit right there.
Right?
I love that old band, the Matas and the Papas.
Gosh. So anyway, I'm glad they changed his name to Pancraz, personally.
Yeah. I don't get the name, but yeah, it's better than Papas.
Yeah.
So apparently they've picked out 2 names for the baby. One is Mata-san, which, oh boy. Or Mata chooses whatever you set at the start of the game, which I set my file name as Eli because I thought it was just going to be a file name. But they went with the superior choice, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah, no, that's your name. But hey, it worked.
Yeah.
Is that the way it is in every Dragon Quest?
Yeah. No
Okay.
Dragon Quest hero has a name except for Erdrick, but that's technically a title at the end. So like when you refer to the Dragon Quest 3 hero, you can call him Erdrick, but technically their name is the one you set up at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Apparently in like marketing materials and stuff, the heroes are usually referred to by just the number of the game. So like Dragon Quest 11 hero is Ireben.
Weird.
Oh. So it's like in Pokemon, the protagonist is red.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
They actually
Okay.
do, I'm just gonna have Dragon Quest fun facts. Like, half the Dragon Quest game heroes do kind of have low-key canonical names. But they're like, it doesn't matter. It never comes up in the game. It's just like, oh yeah, his name's kind of this.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if this is one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they call him in the movie here this summer.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, he'll have to have a name in the movie.
And then he'll have a canon name. Unless they just manage to never say his name like a Titus.
So, 5 minutes into the game, and as Maddie predicted, we've got a dead mom.
Yay, dead mom.
Yeah. So, our dad Ponko wakes us up, and we're on some boat. And he's not in king attire anymore. He's just in regular-ass clothes. Mm-hmm. So he tells us to go explore, and by explore, I mean break all the barrels.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Very strong,
breaking
baby.
barrels.
You're like 5, and you're very strong.
Yeah.
I was super excited to find out I could break so many things.
Yeah.
And break them I did.
You literally like commit like felony theft of this boat. Like you take literally everything except for whatever's in those chests because they're just decoration.
Yeah, there's one of the sailors tells you not to go into Mr. Biscotti's room. He has the deluxe suite. Which, of course, I immediately go into and rummage through, because why would I pass up an opportunity like that?
Yeah.
It's Briscoletti. I just like calling him Mr. Biscotti. And he is also stereotypically Italian.
Yeah.
So, if you're Eli, you spend forever trying to figure out how to progress, because you miss talking to a single NPC.
Yeah.
And I've been doing my due diligence and talking to everyone. I've been doing party chat,
Good.
like the whole 9 yards, because Sam will be sad if I don't.
I mean, I won't be sad. It's just it'll enrich the experience. I forget sometimes too, because it's weird having to press a button to see what your characters say.
Yeah.
But you know what I just thought of that would probably fix the game? If Octopath Traveler had a party chat button, I wouldn't care that nobody was in the cutscenes. Like, if you could just then ask your party what they thought after each cutscene.
They can comment on it.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Totally.
But without it, you just play 8 different games, and it's weird. And it's too saga for me. I can't do it. But anywho, back to 5.
Yeah, so we talk to all the NPCs, and that's what triggers us landing. And Mr. Bruscoletti shows up. He's got 2 daughters, and one of them nearly pushes you off the boat trying to get on. And then he introduces a second one, and I can't remember what her name was.
It's Deborah and Nara.
Deborah and Nara, okay.
Yeah.
And, hold on, I have a screenshot of something he says. Maybe I should save it for memorable moments, but...
yeah.
Crap, where's my photos?
So, speaking of this part, did you realize that you can, because your dad asked you to double check and make sure you're okay, did you go and talk to the girls?
I did not, no.
Oh, shoot, I didn't think to do that.
Me either. Damn.
So
yeah, I was like, I've already stolen everything on the boat.
Because your
What's
dad
the
is
point?
literally like being a tutorial. He's like, did you remember to check all the drawers? In case you didn't know you can do that in this game, you can check drawers for loot. And I'm like,
yeah.
No, I already did.
Yeah,
so I just said, okay, let's go.
But if you follow the girls, Nira, I don't think says anything because I didn't take a picture of it. But Deborah is just like, look, this isn't an open house, you know. You can't just wander around like you own the place. That's my job.
Nice.
Which is great. It's good characterization for that little bitch.
Once we get off the boat, Dad tells us to go off and play, and I'm like, gladly, as long as by play you mean break into people's stuff.
Yeah.
Which I do, eagerly. And I destroy all the barrels and the pots, and it's great. So then, like, we actually leave the town and enter the overworld, and once we get into a battle, Pancakes comes and finds us, and thankfully saves our 6-year-old ass.
Yeah,
which is like...
Because the first fight I got into, I don't know if it's scripted or not, but it's 3 slimes, and, like, you do, like, 1 damage, and they, like, do half your health, and I'm like, okay, please, Daddy, show up.
Yeah, please, Dad, I need you. So, Dad then leads us to the next village, and we do get into some other battles through that, but Pancraz does a decent amount of damage, so he's pretty much one-shots everything, which is great.
He's level 29. Most Dragon Quest games that I've played tap out at level 30 or 50, so he's pretty much in-game level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kicking ass.
Sam, did you think about how this part of the game influenced one of the most famous parts of one of the most famous of all JRPGs? This is the whole Sephiroth flashback from FF7.
Oh.
Where you learn how strong Sephiroth is because he does 10 billion damage to everything.
Yeah, that is dope.
They got that from here.
I always think of that as the Vile fight in Mega Man X. That's the trope I take it from. The very first one where he's kicking your ass and he doesn't even have a health bar, and then Zero shows up and dispatches him like he's nothing.
Oh yeah,
that's what I think of with this trope. But yeah, that's really cool.
Nice. Okay, so Dad
makes us to town.
Yeah, he takes us to the next village, which is called Wheelbrook, and we meet a little girl named Bianca. Apparently, Bianca and the protagonist were friends. This is where we find out how old we are, because she tells us she's 8 years old, which is 2 years older than us, which means we're controlling the world's most destructive kindergartner.
Yeah, we are.
Sam, I hope that your kid isn't that rough when she becomes 6 years old.
Right? I just come home.
Don't give her a weapon.
I come home, all my barrels and pots are broken, and I'm just like, God damn it, Scarlet.
But then she's like, I got a medicinal herb though. Oh God, you do not want her to find your medicinal herbs.
No.
It's fine, you know, she'll leave the room and come back and the pots and barrels will be back again.
Yeah.
So it'll be alright. We talked to Bianca's mom, and she tells us that some dude she sent for herbs is missing. So we go off to find him in some kind of death cave because we're 6 and we have a weapon.
Why not?
Yeah. And if
your
Eli,
weapon's just like a stick you found.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Cypress stick.
Good old
bamboo
cypress stick. No, the bamboo is a spear. It's cypress stick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're Eli, you've already died twice in this part, so you're off to a great start.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, we make our way through the cave. There's some treasure chests, which are great.
Yeah, so what I love about this cave is, like, I've played the beginning of this game like 3 times now. I haven't ever beaten Act 1, so I'm not very far in it, but it's just like I would be bored and like I want to play Dragon Quest, and I don't want to go and download one of the other ones I have, so I'll just play the one on my phone. And so I've done that dungeon a bunch. And normally in an RPG, if you've done something before, you then go back in and the dungeon isn't hard and you just go through it. But my brain was remembering all the times that I went to a dead end and was insisting there was a treasure chest or something interesting there. So I still did the entire dungeon instead of just walking to the dude and leaving.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
So we find the guy. He's been like trapped under a big ass rock, and we're like a bodybuilder 6-year-old. Because we pushed that rock aside without any trouble and help him out, and he gets out of the cave.
Yeah.
So he gets Bianca's mom the herbs, and then along with Dad, we accompany the two of them to a village called Roundbeck. And it turns out they needed the herbs to make medicine for Bianca's sick father.
Wah.
Yeah. Whose name is Whitey?
I think it's a nickname because their last name is like Whitaker or something, and so it's a nickname for that.
Yeah. It's just funny. I had a friend in college who her dad went by the name Whitey. Mm-hmm. He got a tattoo on his wrist of his name, but they spelled it Witty.
That's funny.
They spelled it with 2 T's for some reason. Yeah,
no
exactly.
Regrets.
So thankfully, it turns out Whitey just had a nasty cold. So he's not gonna die. We're not gonna have 2 dead parents early into the game.
Yeah.
But they offer to let us stay in the inn for a while because it's getting late, and
one mechanical thing I think is really cool right here is because this whole time, well, here in a second, actually, we get our first quest, and we're like, all right, we'll sneak out at night. But if you're like me and you suck at this quest, your dad is like, we'll leave in the morning. But if you suck, he catches the cold, and so he has a cold too, so you can't leave. So it gives you as many days as you need. I was when it happened, I was like, oh, do I have to do this in one go, or like, is there a different way to heal than sleeping? But no, they just gave Pancreas a pancreatic cold or something.
Good old pachinko.
Yeah.
That was one I didn't think of. Thank you.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. I don't know why. I really should have. So yeah, and I had the same problem. I was like, oh no, can I not go back? And then someone was like, oh, it's so sad that your dad is sick, but you stay here as long as he needs to get better. And I'm like, my dad's sick? Okay. So
yeah.
We go around and explore with Bianca for a while, and there's some weird lady who tells us about the haunted Uptaten Tower, and then tells us not to go there. She asks a question about, like, were you scared? And you can say yes or no, but she responds with the same thing, so I'm like, what was the point of that question?
Just role-playing.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a couple parts. Actually, earlier there's a part where I really like this, actually. Bianca is like, you want to come play with me? And whether you say yes or no, she's just like, come on. Which, like, I feel like that's very realistic with a lot of kids. She's just like, she doesn't hear what you said. She just grabs your hand. She's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we find some little assholes who are tormenting a cat.
Yeah.
And tell them to stop. But they tell us that they'll only stop if we defeat the ghosts at Uptaten Towers. But they also told us that they give us the cat, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get a free cat.
Right,
for cat, got it.
Yeah. So there's a guard who will block your way if you try to leave. So Bianca says, let's go at night. Everybody will be asleep. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
this guard is...
If you party chat when you talk to the guard, she's like, I know this guy. He can't ever stay up all night. We can come back at night.
Yeah, I was going to say, the guard's like, I have to stay up all the time to protect from monsters. And then we come out and he's lying on the ground dreaming about
armor.
Monsters.
Yeah.
Full armor, yeah.
No wonder he's tired all the time. He doesn't get any good sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who could sleep in armor, man?
Yeah, it's got to be real uncomfortable.
While still holding his spear, too.
Oh, it's like a teddy bear.
Just fucking rotated his sprite.
He flipped it turnways.
Oh god, there it is.
There it is.
Well, hold on, let's see. What's our time? Let's see. 30 minutes till first Homestuck. Nice.
That's pretty good.
I was
Pretty
thinking
good.
that was probably Homestuck.
Good job.
Really.
Good job, team.
We did it.
So we go to bed. Bianca wakes us up, and then we head off to the tower. We also die a lot during this because, man, I suck.
Yeah.
Game's
Bianca
hard at
is-
the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of one like development thing that's cool but interesting about this game is in the SNES version you only could have 3 party members. It's the only Dragon Quest game where you only have 3 besides Dragon Quest 2. But that's plot reasons why you only have 3 and 2. But so when they added a 4th party member for the DS and iOS versions, they were like, okay, we need to go and adjust all of the monster groups. And so instead of 1 slime, you'll have 2 slimes because you'll have an extra person to take it down. They didn't remember that in Act 1, you only ever have like 1 or 2 people in your party. So you just kind of get floored a lot because you're batting up a step almost the whole first part of the game.
Another thing about this game I want to mention is, so I definitely died probably as much as y'all did when I first played this game. This time around I didn't, and it's not because I grinded more, it's because I realized this game's trying to do something tutorializing. I don't think it worked, because it didn't work on either of you, but the game is trying to beat the notion of not using your items out of you. Because you get a shit ton of free medicinal herbs during this portion of the game. And as soon as you realize, oh, I should just use these constantly, then it's not as hard, and that can get you at least until you get the cure spell. However, because we're good little RPG fans and have been taught from birth to never ever use a healing item, I don't think that this game effectively disavows you of that notion.
Yeah.
Whereas if somebody had never played a game before, they might actually play it the correct way instead of being dummies. But I'm not saying y'all are dummies. I'm saying I'm the same way.
I tried to use my items during battles a couple of times, but the protagonist is slower than like all the monsters.
Yeah.
So as soon as I would try to use one, Bianca was already dead, and it's like, well, all right, great.
Yeah, Bianca was real hard to keep alive until she hit like level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is fast, though, so I gave her the medicinal herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some free levels for the protagonist when Dad is taking you around.
Yeah.
But Bianca starts at level 1.
Yeah.
She
And
sucks.
you get to be the pancreas this time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just like your old man.
Yeah. So yeah, what's the deal with this castle? What happened here
So,
long time ago?
Apparently there was a count and countess who didn't have children, and monsters came along who specifically wanted delicious high-class children, and because these two didn't have children, they were cursed. They were killed, and they were cursed to roam the castle forever because they were naughty people who dared not to have kids. Let that be a lesson to you, people like me who don't want children.
You child-free people, the ghosts are coming for you.
Yeah, exactly. So the first thing we do in Uptaten is raid a bunch of coffins because there might be treasure in there. But instead of treasure, we get skeletons who snag Bianca and shove her in a grave. Which is great. Thankfully, our 6-year-old protagonist has the strength of a bear that has the strength of 2 bears, so we can easily get Bianca out.
Yeah, just push the huge slab of rock right off.
Yeah.
If y'all look at the box art for this game, of course, the kid is not 6 in the box art. He's a teenager, but he's, like, buff as shit. But he's actually not like Toriyama buff. He's not buff like his dad. He's, like, lean. Like,
Yeah.
He's like swimmer bod. But yeah, if you look at that, you're like, holy shit, okay, this kid's got some muscles.
So what this reminds me of is, like, if Pancras is just Goku, where he's like, because like you can't read at 6, which is a little like it's about right, but like a little late for not being able to read. But you can lift heavy shit. It's like every day, Hero is just like, hey, Dad, what am I going to learn today? You're going to learn how to lift heavy rocks, son. But can I read? No, you're going to learn how to lift heavy rocks.
I definitely think it is supposed to be maybe a little bit of an intentional commentary on Pancras that you can't read.
Maybe so.
I think so. You've been too busy going on an adventure for the first 6 years of your life, and you definitely... And maybe Pancras, maybe he's not the best reader either. Well, then he was a literal kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just like, oh shit, I forgot to make sure that my kid knows how to read. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention, back in Wheelbrook, everybody knew Pancras.
Oh, yeah. Like, it takes you on, like, a tour of every NPC, and they're all like, oh, Pancras, we missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been gone for 2 years on some journey to find something, apparently. But we don't know what.
Oh, wait, no. Your kid's not Goku. Your kid's Gohan. Pancras is Goku.
Yeah, that's what I said. Pancras is Goku.
Oh, sorry,
Goku.
I misheard you. Yeah, Goku would definitely forget to teach his kid how to read.
Yeah.
So, backing up to 10 Towers, we find someone named Miss Count, which is just...
That's cute.
yeah. Who talks with a very bad Transylvanian accent.
Yeah.
And tells us that monsters killed them because they didn't have any of those delicious high-class children that we talked about earlier. So then we run into, I guess, Mr. Count, because I don't remember his name.
His name, and this is when the name of the location becomes clear... His name is Count Uptaten.
Oh my god.
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
So this game does that. All the Dragon Quest VI games do that. All the localizations of the Dragon Quest games do that. They love to have stupid fucking puns. Also, if you notice, Count Uptaten uses count and number related words in his dialogue every single sentence. Like, instead of saying, I can rely on you, he will always say, I can count on you.
Was this game made by Sesame Street?
Basically.
Not every Dragon Quest game does that. Dragon Quest VIII doesn't do that. They hadn't really established that idea in the Dragon Quest translation formula yet. And Dragon Warrior 7 on the PS1 doesn't do it. But the newer
DS
games do sort of do it, but not near as much as the DS games. The DS games go hard on the accents and the puns, and it is too much, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's too much in 4 for sure. So, Eli, you were mentioning the accent earlier. Dragon Quest 4 is outrageous with its stupid accents. Every place has the spelling of the word is made to it, and it's to the point where it's never unreadable, but it's just oh my fucking god. And all the towns have the stupidest pun titles. They dialed it back a lot for this game, frankly. Wheelbrook and the other one,
Roundback.
Those are just regular nice town names. You know what I mean? Which is good. It's not called Heroville or something like that. Which is what it would have been in Dragon Quest
IV. The city of Townsville.
Yeah, I just finished playing Dragon Quest III, which takes place on the Earth for the first part, which is cool. But that means that they can be on the nose with their almost racist accents. And so you go to Italy and everyone is Italian. You go to Russia and everyone is Russian. And then you go to Japan and everyone's xenophobic, and it made me forgive all of the other bits for the rest of it.
Yeah, it's really funny how the Japanese game actually is super mean about Japan, actually.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, one thing I will mention. Sam, did you notice... Oh, hold on, sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, you muted for a second.
Sam, did you notice the one location that didn't have a stereotypical racist accent?
The one that was made up, the starting zone, but
no,
other than that,
no. Too. But also, no, the one that was the Middle East.
Oh, that's
very
funny.
Smart, very smart decision.
Very, very smart decision.
Very, very, very smart decision. They're no, we're going to do racist accents for the European places.
Yeah.
And for Japan. We're not going to do it for the other places, because that would be racist.
Yeah.
Oh, did you not go to the U.S. and hear either Guidos or deep Southerners?
They all used a lot more contractions and stuff like that.
They talk a little bit more rednecky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
When Sancho came out in Dragon Quest V, the first time, my brain processed his accent as Mexican, and I was like, whoa! But then I was like, oh, he's Spanish, okay.
Yeah,
it's
Spanish.
They're making fun of
it's okay if
Europeans.
it's Spanish, because that's European.
Yeah, I kind of, like, told myself, I hope this is Spanish and not Mexican.
Yeah.
And I mean, considering we've got an Italian guy, I'm just like, okay, it's probably, like, European based.
It is. And I mean, the Count and them, they're obviously, like, stereotypical, like, Transylvanian / also kind of Russian.
I could hardly understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
And also,
Yeah,
they would do the thing where, like, they also, like, the sentences, like, the articles aren't all correct and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we talked to Count Uptaten, and he tells us that we should find a torch to light up the castle, or the tower. So we wander around for a while. Yeah. We wander around for a while, we die a lot, we get to the kitchen downstairs.
When you were wandering around, did you find the dude that seemed important but he didn't have a name NPC that was hanging around by those couches?
Yes.
On the second floor? Yeah, so I think he's telling us about the game at large, which is cool.
He is also, it's a hilarious line of dialogue. Did you get a screenshot of it?
Yeah, he goes, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's not only ghosts, but the spirit of the dark world Nadiria, too. This must mean that Grandmaster Nismo is extending his grip on our world. I read all about him in a book once.
I love that line. I, too, have feigned expert knowledge on something because I read a book about it one time.
That's what reading books is for, isn't it?
Yeah.
As long as no one else in the conversation has also read that book, you are the expert in that conversation on that topic.
Yeah.
So, we get down to the kitchen and find the torch, and there's some skeletons and a cook preparing food. Like, it's a lot of chicken.
Yeah. Or turkeys, maybe, because they're like the size of your entire Sprite.
Yeah, that's true. It's pretty... It's the one as big as me! So we get the torch, and then we head up to the throne room. We find the haunted housekeeper, who then tosses us all the way back down to the kitchen. And we land on the big platter of turkeys, and the chef freaks out that he's going to have to cook children.
He says, it's just not a recipe I'm comfortable with.
I've read all about this recipe, but I'm not good enough at it yet to cook it for our king.
Yeah, I'm just not sure I can handle this.
They don't pay me enough for this.
Yeah. This is not what I learned at Le Cordon Bleu. So we get assaulted because they toss salt all over us to season us.
You're just getting in the spirit of Dragon Quest.
Yeah. And then we're lifted back up, and some candles attack us, so we kill the candles.
Some skeletons are like, we're gonna attack you, and then candles attack us.
Yeah, this game will do that, because this game has specific monsters, that are designed by Akira Toriyama. And sometimes those monsters will be used to represent whatever you're actually fighting, which is something that's more plot relevant.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the early gens of Pokemon, where everything was a Kangaskhan, but literally nothing was a Kangaskhan.
Yeah. So we have to make our way back up to the throne room, where we fight the haunted housekeeper.
And if you're like me, you die a lot.
Yeah. Thankfully, I did do a little bit of guide reading just to find out about where to go. And it suggested getting Bianca up to level 7 because she would get a spell called Kasap.
Yeah.
Kasap.
Yeah. Kasap is important.
Yeah.
So
and
much like Persona, this game will have a root word for its spells and then have additions to go on it. So sap is the spell. Kasap means it'll do all enemies, or at least enemies in a group. And then the other ending is LE. So like you have Sizz and then Sizzle, and Sizzle will do group damage instead of single damage.
And also like Persona, but more like the mainline SMT games, status spells, buffs, and debuffs are really important.
Yeah, you should always be using them, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, they don't last the whole fight too, as I found out. So I had to use Kasap a couple of times, but I killed the haunted housekeeper.
Yeah.
Yay! Or I defeated him. He didn't die, but he asks for forgiveness, and I'm a nice guy, so I forgave him, and Uptaten Tower was cleansed, and everyone went to a peaceful rest.
I said, no, I don't forgive you, but then he was like, oh, come on, you have to forgive me. And...
Oh, really? It's a but thou... That's so funny. Because normally a but thou must is like, but thou must go on the quest. But in this case, it's literally just, you have to be
thou
nice
must
to...
forgive.
Yeah. I said no a few times just for fun.
Okay.
I'm glad somebody's being contrarian.
Yeah, we got to teach these little Japanese boys about forgiveness, I guess. So it's plot relevant that you have to forgive this guy.
That's just a weird kind of illusion of choice thing to have in there.
Yeah. Most old RPGs, and this one's probably the same way, are strictly linear with a lot of illusion of choices in it.
Yeah.
Like almost BioWare levels of illusion of choice.
But this game will have a small number of very important choices, and I don't want to spoil anything. Dragon Quest VII does a cool thing where it's completely linear, except for one specific part. But the thing is, in that specific part, you're assuming that it's a but thou must. You're assuming it's an illusion of choice, and you might not even know that it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, you just make your choice and the game's plot proceeds, and then you go back later and you're like, oh, I made a choice there?
That's cool.
But in this game, the actual only choices that really matter are very clearly signposted, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. But so it's all cleansed, and then we can go and loot all of the things that we missed. Did you find all of the tea set, Eli?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know what the tea set's about, but I got it.
One of the NPCs, I don't know if this is right or not, I haven't completed this quest either, but one of the NPCs in one of the towns is asking about it, so I'm going to go talk to him and see what happens there.
I went back and talked to him, and he says the same thing. He's like, I heard about this tea set, and I have the tea set, and he doesn't say anything. So then I go to my item screen, which this is not normally a thing in this game. This game doesn't usually have you using items on the field to trigger plot stuff. That's not a thing that the series does. But I go anyway. I go into my items menu and I click on the tea set and I click use. And when you click use, it just gives you a description. It's like, like Maddie looks at the tea set. And maybe it's just for funsies.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to Google
sell the tea set.
Oh, right. I did think to do that and haven't tried yet.
Okay. Maybe you can sell it.
But get a shit ton of money, which would make sense because you need money to buy. Money can buy mini weapons and armor.
So
they can be exchanged for goods and services.
So Eli, now that you killed the housekeeper, did you get a boomerang to do it?
Oh, a what?
A boomerang from the weapon shop.
Oh no, I haven't gotten a boomerang yet. No.
Okay. The boomerang and the whip are two special items that they have in there that are in Dragon Quest. The whip can attack an entire group at once, and the boomerang attacks the entire field at once, and it's kind of like a cheat code. But so you can go you can go and get the boomerang and then probably keep it for the next 10 hours until you're outclassed by your second boomerang that you get.
You would think the boomerang would be a lot weaker than any of the other weapons you can get at the time, but no.
No.
Yeah, it's like it attacks all the enemies, but also does more damage.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it's probably about even with the highest sword you can get, but just save the extra 10 gold and get the boomerang.
Yeah.
And then
now, I will say, don't let your preconceptions about how video game balancing tends to work fuck with your brain, because this game is not balanced in the way that other games are. And that's just one example. Also, in case y'all didn't know about this, I didn't have SAP. I actually got Kasap after winning the boss battle. Were y'all using Dazzle?
No.
So before she learns Kasap, Bianca learns Dazzle. Dazzle, the flavor text is it envelops the enemy with illusions. It means they fucking miss every time they attack you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, in Dragon Quest, unlike worse games, Bosses are almost always susceptible to status effects.
Yeah.
Nice.
They might have low RNG. Weird. One annoying thing, but this is actually traditional to the series. They hardly ever tell you if someone's immune.
Yeah.
So you'll use it, and it'll just say it didn't work, and you don't know if it didn't work because they're immune or if it didn't work because of RNG. You don't know. So you'd have to experiment.
Interesting.
One way you can cheat that is, I don't know if you're using party AI or not, Eli, but the AI is way too good and way too smart. So if they use it and it doesn't work, and they know that it's just because they got bad RNG, they'll use it again. And if they don't use it again, they're probably immune because the AI is smart.
Oh, that makes sense. Because the game
maybe
knows.
I will use party AI then, because it probably knows better than me what to do.
I'm guessing because it's the first boss in the game, and also because, you only have Bianca in your party for a little while, and she learns this spell in this dungeon, so the RNG must be really low because I led the battle. I started the battle with Dazzle, and it worked, and then it wore out halfway through, and I used it again, and it worked. So I won that battle with, let's see, where's my stats? I won that battle with Maddie having gone from like 48 down to 38 damage, and Bianca having full health and having not used any heal spells.
Wow.
So yeah, I'd use anytime you get a new spell, try using it because it could be fucking great. I can't guarantee it'll be fucking great. It actually could be bullshit. You just have to find out. Also, the main character learns Fizzle. No, they don't. I thought it was. The main character learns Squelch, which just heals poison. But later you will learn Fizzle, which makes
silence.
It's silence. That's also extremely essential because a lot of enemies will like hit you for 5 HP, but then use a spell that does like 15.
Yeah.
So if an enemy looks like they're a wizard, you should cast that on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, just some tips, and again, these spells usually have pretty high RNG. It'll usually work on the first or second try on most enemies. So
yeah,
gotcha.
Just some tips.
So we head back to the town, and we tell the kids what we did. So they reluctantly hand over the cat. Bianca tosses out a bunch of names that I hate. And eventually I just decided to stop on Mohicat because I couldn't keep going with all the names.
Yeah, the names, if I'm remembering correctly from what I read, determine its stats. I think.
Good.
There's actually, of course it is.
There's actually a book you can find somewhere that talks about how Mohicat is gentle and Leon is strong or something. I forget what. But I actually like that you can't name it.
I totally read that book, and I also was like, oh, the names are from that book. And I didn't even consider, like, oh, they're giving me stat gameplay information. Even though, like, I've played Dragon Quest. I should have known they were doing that.
Yeah, in the very first game, it takes the first 4 letters of your name and rolls against that to see what your stats are for the whole game. Like, names equal stats is a big thing in Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Anyway, I went with that. So I guess that explains why you don't get to name the cat, but have to pick a name. I went with Punk.
I picked Saber.
So, funny enough, the hero may or may not have a canonical name. The cat extremely has a canonical name. It's Saber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that, like, marking materials, like, he is referred to as Saber all the time.
Well, I picked the wrong name. Great.
It's fine. It'll be like in, though I don't think you've played any Kingdom Hearts. At the beginning of Kingdom Hearts, it asks you to...
I played the first 2 Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so yeah, those are the 2 where it does it. It'll ask you, like, oh, do you want to pick defense over blah, 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 and it doesn't matter because you just press X to win. So that's pretty much how it's going to be here.
Although you don't pick defense because then you press X a lot more to win because your attack is so fucking low and the battles take forever. Never pick defense at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts.
The only time I do is in Kingdom Hearts 1 because then you fight the first boss with the shield and that just looks cool. But
that's true.
Yeah, that's the only reason to, is for that first boss. The rest of the game sucks if you do. Anywho, this isn't a Kingdom Hearts podcast.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of Kingdom Hearts 1 sucks no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. If you want it to suck longer. Anyway, yeah, that's it for the week.
Technically, you get a cat. There's a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
So, because in Dragon Quest you only can save at the church, and so on your way over to the church, first off we skipped that we got a gold orb from the Uptaten Towers.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Orbs have been important in the 3 Dragon Quest games that I've played, so this is probably a big deal.
Yeah, but, if you play Dragon Quest 3, you're like, oh, an orb.
Oh,
that's very just like the magical 6 MacGuffins that were super important in Dragon Quest 3 were all orbs. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and so then as Pancras he takes us back, and Sancho tells us to take a nap, and then we walk over to the church and we see grown-up Gohan Hero from the box art. Did you guys see grown-up Gohan Hero outside of the church?
I saved immediately after getting the cat.
Yeah,
this is definitely for next time, Sam.
Oh, well, because I
got to this part because I played half part. No, you can definitely save before you get to this part.
Okay, I didn't even think, because it all feels like a cutscene. So when I finished it, I didn't even think to go and do it. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about Grown Up Gohan next week because, that was weird. But yeah, okay. So let's do memorable moments.
So. I really liked that you could look at all the bookshelves and it would tell you different things. Like, the first one I looked at said, there's a book called The Monster Book of Jokes. Eli takes it from the shelf and has a closer look. What do you call a warthog who's always out to get you? A thwarthog. Unfortunately, Eli can't read and doesn't get the joke.
I guarantee you all of us have that screenshot because I know that Maddie tweeted it earlier. I have it.
It's great.
I like how they don't really specify. Like, it could be that he doesn't get the joke because he can't read, but it also could be like he can't read, but also doesn't get the joke.
He's too young to know the word thwart. So you can also go and look at the mirrors, and it says something like, you make a funny face and try to make yourself laugh. Talk about lonely. And I'm like, this game hates me. It's like...
Despite everything, it's still you.
Yeah, the next... Aw, you're the one who made the Undertale reference this time. But I was like, this game hates me. The next time it tells me something, it's going to be like, Eli has an inferiority complex and abandonment issues. And I'm just like, what do you want from me, game? One of the first things that Mr. Biscotti says is, now, Nera, we've traveled further than a long piece of linguine. You must be exhausted. Like, could you be...
Our travels, they are like in the pasta.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so good.
It sure is Italian.
Yep.
And then, let's see... Yeah, I've just got screenshots of the terrible accents.
One especially funny thing that I just realized, and this is a very common Dragon Quest thing, the main characters almost never have dumb accents, even when they should, because I just realized, like, Nira and the other one,
Deborah.
I guess this is a minor spoiler, they show up later. They don't have dumb Italian accents.
Huh.
But they should.
Because
they're his
dad
kid.
does. Yeah.
But they're important characters, and that would be annoying, so they don't.
Yeah, except Bianca still has a southern accent.
Yes, she does. That's very true.
Which is really cute. Speaking of Bianca, one of mine is when you get up to play with her, she goes, I know, why don't I read you a story? Hang on a minute. Upon. No. Oh, this is too hard. How am I supposed to read something this difficult? She couldn't even get through Once Upon a Time.
She's 8. She really should be reading at this point.
Miss Whitaker also is like, no, go lift heavy rocks.
There aren't any schools in this world.
Especially up in this redneck, in her hometown, or the main character's hometown of Pancho Villa. Been holding on to that one for a while.
I'm glad. you can hold on to it a little longer next time if you want.
I got a few MMs. First of all, this game made me cry a lot, actually, because as y'all know, my name Maddie came from naming my Dragon Quest characters Maddie about 1 year ago. the games where you get to name your characters, Dragon Quest. Well, you can name all of them, but the games where you get to pick your gender, Dragon Quest 3 and 9. I just randomly, arbitrarily came up with the name Maddie, and then realized that I haven't shared the whole story, but I'm not going to because it's dumb and long. But whatever. Me playing as a girl instead of a guy in Dragon Quest was very important at the time. Anyway, I didn't know that they named the kid fucking Madison at the beginning of this cutscene. I didn't know that. That was accidental. Yeah. I didn't know that until Sam sent me a screenshot of it, like, in November.
Yeah.
So that's really funny and really strange. So I decided to, when I started playing Dragon Quest XI last week, I wasn't sure if I wanted to restart my game or not. And then I saw my save file had my old name on it, and I was like, yeah, I'm restarting the game. But I had a hard time. I was like, well, unlike Dragon Quest 3 and 9, I don't get to pick the gender for the character. So what should I do? Should I just name him something random? Name him, Sam Allman? And pretend to be someone else. Guy, But I realized in Dragon Quest XI that the character, like, is pretty androgynous, pretty feminine-looking character. So I was like, you know what? If this game isn't going to let me use she pronouns, I'm just going to play an egg.
There you go.
So anyway, I went with Maddie in this game, which is a little funny because he's like, don't name him Madison, name him a completely different name, Maddie. But it's cool because very seldom do people actually use gendered words to refer to you in this game. Usually they just refer to you directly. So it's cute. It's fun to just be able to be Maddie in this game, and be a cute little bundle of purple. Anyway, let me look at a few of my memorable moments. That was my first one. There was
one screenshot that I got. There's a guy on the ship who's really all about boys should do this or boys should do that. Just remember this, boys should never be screaming or crying no matter what. And I'm like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
For some reason, I found that guy sweet. Like, he's wrong, yes, but it's just like, people are trying to give what they think is good life advice.
I guess.
But I was just like, lol, you don't know, man. Joke's on you. One of my memorable moments is I love the whole boat. I love how much they characterize Pancraz.
Yeah.
Every single person on this boat has something to say about Pancraz. Even the cook says, I wonder who's the better cook, me or your pa. And I'm like, you're a professional chef.
Right?
And you're literally saying that my dad's a better cook than you. Also, someone talks about how, like, Pancraz is more of a man than I could ever be because he's raising you without a mom. So that's actually cool because he's calling your dad manly for doing a very traditionally womanly thing of raising a kid, right?
Yeah, that's very progressive.
I actually saw a lot of interesting things about gender roles here, and I don't know, I feel like back in the past that would have annoyed me. But maybe now that I'm more comfortable with myself, it doesn't annoy me. I'm just like, oh, they're so traditional. I kind of want to make a game that is just this, but you're trans. Let's see. What else do I get from the boat? Maddie can't read. The entire voyage you're on is just for your dad. Like, apparently the Mr. Biscotti owes your dad, like a debt of gratitude, so he's letting him use his entire ship. The captain says, make sure to always obey your dad.
So one thing about the boat that would be better in the Super NES version than here is the Super NES version doesn't have the boat creaky noises as the background music at the beginning. So you wake up in what looks like a house and everything's squared off in the SNES so it doesn't look all boaty and warped. So it's like, oh, I'm in some house and it's not a big deal, and then you walk through and then you come out on this big ass boat and it's a big deal when it happens on the Super NES.
That is a cool reveal. I like that a lot.
It's spoiled because if you have your sound on it, you hear the swaying of the boat as you do it.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm obviously in a boat now.
Yeah.
I'm on a boat.
Bernard, what were some of your memorable moments?
Well, like y'all said, I really enjoyed how everything has some personality when you look at it. When you look at a mirror, there's always some fun thing like Bernie thinks he's looking more like his dad every day, and how you can look at books and read them, but then it tells you can't read. I also just really loved how Pancras is sort of teaching you how to play an RPG. He tells you to go search through the drawers, and then he shows you how to go through the overworld and shows you what it's like to play the RPG when you actually are leveled up, because he's really strong. And also, just to say something that hasn't been mentioned yet, there's just one line when the chef is like, "No, I don't want to cook the kids." A skeleton comes over and fucking says,
Yep.
"Do you want your neck sliced off by the scythe of hell?" I'm like, damn.
Like the most metal line in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I love that line. Yeah, it's weird. This is the 5th game in the series. The first 4 games don't do this level of overt tutorialization. Maybe because they were very influenced by old PC RPGs that were made for 40-year-old men who just love to play extremely boring games with thick manuals. But maybe it was on the Super Nintendo. Maybe they're like, hey, this series has gotten really popular, and this is the first one on the Super Nintendo. What if we made it more user-friendly to try and get a bigger audience by putting all this tutorial stuff in it? Other thing I noticed was the first dungeon doesn't require going into the overworld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unique. That's like a set of training wheels, right? Like, you don't have the whole RPG experience of going on to the overworld and finding the dungeon. No, the dungeon is quote-unquote in the town, which makes it feel safer.
It's not in the town. It's not in the town. You definitely have to go to the overworld for
No,
it.
the cave.
No, you don't.
The cave.
Oh, the cave. I was thinking of the towers.
No, the cave is the first dungeon, and it's, quote, in the town. And even the first dungeon, there aren't any random battles for a while.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of spooky horror movie jokes, and then eventually there are battles.
Oh, speaking of which, did you guys find the mini-boss in the Uptaten Towers?
No.
Mini-boss?
So, when you first get there and you walk in, they do a spooky ghosty thing of one of the statues is following you. If you talk to it like 5 times, you get in a fight with it, and it wipes the floor with you and despawns. So I don't know what happens when you beat it, but it's really high-level mini-boss.
That didn't happen to me.
But
Did
you talk to it a lot?
No, I didn't even have a statue following me.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't notice it.
Maybe your game is haunted.
I did notice that one of the rooms had a bunch of statues, and I talked to like 3 of them, and then I got bored and didn't talk to all 6 of them.
Yeah,
Sam's playing the Ben Drowned version of Dragon Quest.
So, I do have one serious criticism of the iOS version. Well, 2. One is that you can't text people while you're playing it, and check Twitter. Secondly, though, and this isn't the game's fault, but it is kind of annoying, you can't rotate the camera while you're moving.
Yeah.
And it might be hard to understand for those of you who haven't played the DS version, but that's actually a big deal because it's not just that it's useful. It's not just because it takes longer to have to stop moving, slowly rotate your camera to a new position, and then continue moving. It's not just that it's less convenient, and I have found that I rotate the camera less than I used to, but also it's just like a pleasurable physical activity to do. Like, strafing around a building while rotating your camera to see like what's there while you're strafing is like an essential part of how you play the game. And you can't do that because it doesn't have like, I guess it doesn't have like multi-touch or whatever, probably because they figured that would make it even more, maybe make it more difficult to play. So nobody's fault, but it's just like, I'm missing out on that good sweet rotate swingy camera moving goodness. Other than that, the controls are fantastic.
Yeah. I wish Dragon Quest, just like I wish Nintendo would have sold their D-pad to the Xbox, I wish that Dragon Quest would sell its joystick to every other RPG on the system, because this virtual joystick is the only one I've ever found that works the way that I want it to.
Oh, there's a couple more dumb puns. First of all, in the cave, there's a sign, and it says, it looks like it must be some kind of warning sign, but Maddie hasn't learned how to read yet. And I think the sign is definitely saying, like, danger, falling rocks.
Yeah.
When you meet the guy, though, who had a rock that fell on him, his name is Rockefeller.
Oh my god.
That's right.
Which is a 3-level pun. First of all, rock. Second of all, a rock fell on him. But also, like, he's a guy. He's a fella.
Yeah.
So he's a Rockefeller. So there's that. Also, no, he's not a merchant. Never mind. He's not a merchant. Let's see. What other stupid fucking bullshit is there?
There's a lot.
Hunter's so bad.
I don't know why you're saying bad. All of these are good.
No, they're very good. The Count says there's safety in numbers. When the Count tells you that you finally have the torch, he says, aha, now you can go and defeat the boss. His number will soon be up. Which,
oh my god.
Number, yes, but also number will be specifically up, because counting up. He does that at one point. I
do remember that.
And then, again, this game also would be remiss to not make a joke more than once. When they finally die and are in their graves, Count Uptaten's grave says, here lies Count Uptaten, whose number is now sadly up.
I'm mad at those.
There's also
the fact that they reused that one, that makes me more mad.
Well, I'm thinking that's the Count. See, the Count probably wrote his own gravestone, so he just loves that pun. He's excited about it. There's an old man in the church. When you talk to him, he goes, "You're praying at a church? Ugh, you're such a good little boy. You remind me of me when I was your age." Later, after you defeat the ghost, he says, "You defeated all the ghosts? Wow, you're such a brave little boy. You remind me of me when I was your age." I'm like, okay. And that's all of mine for the week.
Yeah, I only had one other one, and it's because it was applicable to the U.S.'s life last week, but you talk to this NPC and he goes, "Brr, I'm freezing. It's supposed to be summer before long. I don't get why it's so cold." And I'm like, same. It was May and snowing in some parts of the U.S. and like 50 degrees this week.
Yeah, it's been really weird.
Oh, also, God, the enemy names in this game. I don't only remember one of them, but the one that is a candle with a knife is called
the Wax Murderer.
The Wax Murderer.
Oh, yeah, the fire ones are Will o' the Whips.
God damn.
Yeah. The slimes are called Slimes. I remember that one.
Yes.
But yeah, the monster names in Dragon Quest are probably my favorite thing about it, because, like, as all RPGs of the time do, you're going to get palette swaps of these later, and you're just going to be like, oh, like, Wax Murderer is so great, like, how are they going to top it? And they somehow always come up with, like, 5 puns on the same thing, and it's brilliant.
It definitely takes a lot of the sting out of, and honestly, these games do more palette swaps than most RPGs, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like Doctor Who. It's like, this is the most popular thing in your entire country. Why is it so low budget?
And they're like, we spent all of our money on puns. Duh.
Yeah. They had to specifically hire pun writers.
Somebody help me how to budget. Teach me how to budget this. My franchise is dying.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all that I really have. Did you have any more, Bernard?
No.
Okay. Did you have any more, Eli?
Nope. I'm good.
Yeah. Good.
I think that about does it for the week.
Yeah. Pretty short week.
Yeah. We were pretty much done with the plot at 30 minutes. Like, when we made that 30 minutes joke, we just had to talk about the boss fight. So
yeah.
Yep.
Well, as we guessed, these episodes are going to be mostly memorable moments because that's just their storytelling style, and it's dope.
Few things. I looked through to find out where we're stopping for next time. Without spoiling anything, it's really easy. There's a very, very dramatic plot scene, and a lot happens, and then you get one of those RPG things where you get a black screen, and then you get to save.
Oh, so a Luna.
We get a save at a Luna.
Yeah. Now,
cool.
There could be a Luna that happens before that I'm forgetting, so don't get confused. It's the one after the extremely serious plot thing.
You'll know when it is.
You'll fucking know.
Okay.
So if you get a Luna after just like some bullshit, like the plot is like, and then morning came, and then all the town celebrated, and then it was the next morning. If you get a Luna, then that's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you get a Luna that's like, hey, Lavitz died, that's...
Oh, God. I'm having flashbacks.
I have to bring up Lavitz dying every single episode for you, Eli.
Oh, my heart. You gotta keep me grounded somehow.
Yeah.
So, if you like what you hear and you want to chat with us, there are a few ways to do that. On our Twitter, at RPG Book Club, our email address at rpgbookclub@gmail.com. We're on our Discord, which has a link in the description. If you'd like to help us pay for things, consider donating on our Ko-Fi. It still says Patreon in this Final Fantasy one that I'm looking at. Yeah. Donate on our Ko-Fi, which is ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub. Patrons get to vote on our next game and our new video series, the JRPG Canon, 2 weeks before... and get our new video series, the JRPG Canon, 2 weeks before everyone else. Are we doing a vote right now? Not until, like, halfway through this, right?
No vote right now.
It'll be, 2 or 3 weeks. We already know what games we're doing. We just aren't opening up the vote for another
Sam,
week or
quick
two.
question. What's the next JRPG Canon video about?
It is going to be about Final Fantasy 1. I figure I should start with the two... basically the two that every game wishes they were, and from then I won't go chronologically anymore. Like, those are the first two, and then I think the one after that will be Lufia 2, just because I played a little bit of it and it owns, and I kind of want to talk about it because, like, it's important in my JRPG canon because every Wild Arms game wishes it was Lufia 2, and Wild Arms is, like, my second favorite series. So, like, it's important to me. I'm like, oh, you can see everything Wild Arms did. And everyone's like, what's a Wild Arm? But
that's funny. It's very interesting that you want to do Lufia 2 specifically now as we're playing Dragon Quest V. I won't elaborate on that comment.
Yeah. But
I just thought enough people would know and get excited about it, right? So if you want to hear Sam's thoughts about Final Fantasy 1, and you want to get the drop on that, definitely donate to our Ko-Fi.
If you want me to be nice to Final Fantasy 1, you can check out that canon. If you want to hear me nice to it anyways, anywhere else, you probably won't get it. But I can see everything that's important and talk about all the good parts when I'm the one editing the video. But yeah.
Well, that sounds really interesting. I like Final Fantasy 1, even though
I will say, here's a spoiler for the last 5 minutes of that video. I liked Final Fantasy 1 enough that I'm probably going to play it on the PSP, but good God, don't play the NES version. No one should ever play the NES version of that game.
Origins version is my hot take.
Yeah. Origins is good. It's the most recently good one that has spell slots, if you like that. I don't like that, so I'm going to play the PSP version.
Yeah, I don't think other games should have spell slots, but I absolutely think Final Fantasy 1 should have spell slots.
Final Fantasy 1 having spell slots is a great example of, like, hey, here's why this game and only this game should be inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. But in the future, we're not going to be inspired by Dungeons and Dragons.
No, don't do it. But yeah, so that'll be that. Other than that,
for RPG Book Club, I've been Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Maddie.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
Oh, Bernard, hold on, wait. Bernard, I'm not going to make you shill everything you've ever done, but you do have a really good Twitter. Bernard's great at Twitter, folks, really. He makes good tweets. What's your at, if you feel like sharing your at?
At David Bernard H.
There we go.
Nice.
Follow Bernard, he's good. Okay, now we're done. Bye, everybody.
Now we're done. Bye.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I am Sam Allman.
And I'm Maddie.
And... shoot, how was this gonna go?
Oh, you forgot the words. I'll say it. A Bernard approaches... Oh, wait, I just said it wrong. Bernard approaches. Command?
Hi, I'm David Bernard Houck.
That's great.
I'm glad I didn't ruin the podcast.
We can cut that to be properly, and this time we actually should cut that to be properly, and not like when we say we're going to cut it and then we don't cut it.
But I'll put the outtakes at the end. That's what we'll do.
Great.
Okay.
Great.